Minister, when your government and Fine Gael and yourselves entered government, they did indeed inherit another mess. It could be argued that you did very little, even in opposition, to articulate an alternative, but you certainly did not create the mess of the property boom and the bust that wasn't done by your hands. You were not at the reins when employment started to plummet. There would be an element of unfairness in blaming you for the mess of Fianna Fáil. But if I crash my car and I bring it to someone who swears blind to me that they will fix it, and they charge me and take a great deal of time doing very little more than pretending to be fixing the problem, then that mess does become their fault. The people were told that this government would fix things, that there would be jobs, and there'd be nothing of the sort. There have been cuts. There have been unemployment, emigration and platitudes. This is not solving the problem. And now I say to you in Labour and Fine Gael, it is your problem and you must live up to that. Fianna Fáil, try as they might, can't make it any worse in opposition benches, but you can, and arguably have certainly so, in your unfair budgetary attacks on low and middle incomes and those on social welfare. Since taking office in February 2011, Finglas and Ballymun's unemployment figures have remained relatively static, but that is in the face of mass immigration. Many football teams are struggling with numbers, and many have been even emerged. Thankfully, Ballymun Kickhams have reached the All-Ireland final. I wish them all the best, and they will bring some hope to an area which has, despite a very expensive and protracted regeneration programme, remained a black spot for unemployment and an area of extreme deprivation in parts. A recent map drawn up by the International Centre for Local and Regional Development found that most of Ballymun and Finglas was suffering with deprivation, and some areas suffered extreme deprivation. This is not news to me, and I have called on the government to develop a jobs task force to focus on those most deprived areas. These calls have fallen on deaf ears. In some areas of Ballymun and Finglas, unemployment is nearly 3 times the national average. You cannot build an economy on unemployment. You cannot build on over 400,000 people relying on social welfare to feed themselves. You certainly cannot build it on the export of our young people. 167,000 people have left Ireland since this new government was formed. Many thousands more have given up the idea this government will do anything to help them. You have utterly failed to create jobs, and most of the time it looks not so much like you are failing to do so, and that is not really your focus at all. This government seems much more at home extending European debts and attacking the low paid than getting people back to work by getting them somewhere to go to work. The government plan has been high on rhetoric and low on jobs. Sinn Féin have produced numerous major plans to create jobs and kick-start the economy. The fact this government, so uninterested in significant job creation, has ignored is disappointing but not surprising. Sinn Féin said jobs was the #1 priority, and we have followed through on this commitment. To this end, we produced at the end of 2012 a plan to invest €13 billion in stimulating the economy, and 100 million of which would retain 15,000 jobs at risk. Those at risk are the businesses this government have failed with spiralling rates and the continuation of the upward-only rent system. This is funded from €5.8 billion in the NPRF, €1.534 billion from the EIB, €3 billion from the private pension sector, and by not cutting €2.6 billion from the capital project, as the government plans to cover over the next 4 years. The accumulation of 4 years of cuts rolled over. 13 billion would create an average of 156,000 immediate and long-term jobs, according to the ESRI. Part of that plan was a house-building scheme for social housing, which would have created thousands of jobs with a costed €1 billion investment. Instead, this government spends more than £500 million a year on rent supplement and hails social leasing as a panacea. This subsidises no one but landlords and is unsustainable. People are struggling hard, and the Finglas Town Centre has been allowed to be run down. It is a shadow of its former self. And now the centre of that village, its post office is at threat, and other businesses, even larger companies, are fighting to hold on. With that, I support this motion.